Hello, good evening. Welcome to another Live with Dr. Dawn. I'm your host, Dr. Dawn 𝕃𝕀𝕍𝔼 Brown, double board certified child lesson adult and sports psychiatrist. I'm a two-time best-selling author, producer, podcaster, media influencer. I'm sole practitioner of 𝗕𝗏𝐻 Wellness Center in Houston, Texas, with 2 locations and a thriving practice, and a virtual practice, that is. And also the CEO and founder of Mental Healthletics, where I serve collegiate, professional, Olympians, and retired athletes. So check it out at mentalhealthletics.com. Hey, y'all. Thank you for joining me for another live show. And listen, we have another wonderful, great show coming up for you. I am not going to hold you all. I'm going to actually bring in my guests right now. I'm going to have them introduce themselves to you so we can get right to it. All right. So first up, I have Dr. Pierre Johnson. Dr. Pierre Johnson is a colleague of mine. We went to Xavier University of Louisiana. XU is in the building today, or in the house virtual space. Dr. Johnson is here, as well as Josephanie Smith. He is also a therapist in Atlanta. So Atlanta's representing, Chicago's here, Michigan, Houston is here. So good evening, y'all. Thanks so much for joining me this evening. This is not like any other show introduction I've done. I usually give a strong bio of everybody, but this is such a hot topic, and I could not have you all on. So Dr. Pierre, can you go ahead and introduce yourself, and then Josephanie, we're gonna get right to it.
Dr. Pierre Johnson, doc for the streets, board certified OB/GYN, specializing in minimally invasive surgery, in particular fibroids, human health. That's what I do. Just trying to eradicate healthcare disparities by day, but also changing the narrative of the young Black male by night. Wrote a book with 2 colleagues called Pulse of Perseverance. It's done very well. We give out a monthly scholarship, and we're trying to change the narrative with that. And Doc for the Streets is just aimed at eradicating healthcare disparities. So podcasts, virtual consults, and just education to try to get people to understand that knowledge is power, and understand their options as far as healthcare is concerned, so we can eradicate some of the disparities that exist in our climate.
My bad. Where can they find you on your podcast, Dr. Pierre?
Podcast is Doc for the Streets, DOC4DASTREETZ. It is spelled phonetically that way on purpose, just because you'll see that why and the reason why if you follow me. But it's on Spotify, Google, Apple, as well as YouTube, which is Pierre Johnson, MD.
Did I spell that correctly? DOCS4DASTRE. Thank you. All right. Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Pierre. And then we also have Josephanie Smith. Josephanie, can you introduce yourself, please?
Absolutely. Hello. So my name is Josephanie V. Smith. 𝗏𝗏 is what a lot of you are free to call me. And I am an associate professional counselor. I'm practicing at Love Positive Counseling in Roswell, Georgia. I offer individual, relationship, and sex therapy. So sex therapy geared towards millennials, helping us exist positively as the sexual beings that we are, and kind of just helping individual couples, whether married, unmarried, kind of navigate some of the challenges that we experience, because sexual challenges are not limited at all to people outside of the millennial age bracket, or just, outside of the millennial age bracket. So I'm just helping, us navigate some of these challenges, and maybe working on, setting different boundaries, setting new boundaries, and healthier, developing habits. I can't speak English today. Why can't I speak English? And developing healthier habits. So that's what I'm doing.
Well, you probably can't, because you haven't been off for 6 months. So thank you for
doing Let me tell you something. I have not had an off day in 6 months. I am tired. I'm running on no energy. I have been working like crazy.
Right. And I appreciate you being on, both of you. I know Dr. P is on call tonight. Josephanie is on vacation today. So y'all, thank you so much for coming on tonight. I really appreciate you. Everybody, you tuning in, I see you, Miss Honora. Thank you so much for joining us. Hey, you all know what to do. Go ahead and share where you're coming from or where you're viewing this from. We want to definitely give you a shout out for joining us this evening. If you have any questions, go ahead, pop them in the comment section. We'll address them as we have a heavy topic discussion, a fun topic discussion on this. Dr. Pierre, you got me. You got me, dude. Last week, I have to read this statement that you posted in Facebook. And we had a conversation after, which I'm so happy we did, because I had no idea. I thought I was really tuned out of what was really going on, right? So basically your statement was there is no line drawn between shooting your shot and sexual harassment. My advice, what you're saying, is if she doesn't come at you first, don't even think about it. So giving you a background of me, I'm coming out of like a long history relationship, right? I'm single, been single about 1.5 years. And so, you know, I'm in my 40s. And, you know, I'm just growing up. You know, I've actually been raised to have men approach me. So I'm reading this as, okay, you know, you can go out, you know, chill. You may have eye contact for a little bit, but you always have the men approach you. I'm aggressive. I'm an aggressive person in so many other areas. But when it comes to that, I try to hold my cool, you know, and, you know, do, you know, shoot my shot with my eyes, I guess, how you want to say it. But as I was reading your comments, they were very varied. I mean, there were females and males commenting on different sides of the fence on this. Can you talk a little bit about your statement and why you posted it? Let's start there.
So, you know, the statement was, you know, it went to the extreme, and I did that on purpose. And it was simply to, you know, make people think and to draw a reaction. You know, the Me Too climate, and I'm gonna be very careful with my words because I don't want people to misconstrue what I'm saying. When a woman undergoes sexual harassment or abuse, it is a very serious matter. You know, it is something that is not to take lightly. I'm a women's healthcare specialist, advocate. You know, I'm all about you know, speaking or being a voice for, you know, women and people that, you know, can't be a voice for themselves. So by no means was a statement meant to take anything away from women that have actually been through real abuse or real harassment, to where that it has compromised their lifestyle, way of being, or how they feel. With all of that being said, I think that, you know, Me Too, the movement has done some good things. It has done, it has given women empowerment that have not been able to be a voice in years past, and it's given them the confidence to speak out on harassment and things that are just vile and bad, and just bad men that are out there. It's also done something bad as well too. It's also become a weapon, and it's been weaponized, and it's used to as a power tool, and it is used to I think make statements, whether it be political, whether it be financial, whether it be you know, just status. I mean, it's been a multitude of different circumstances in which, you know, these Me Too cards have been pulled, and they have not really been actual or factual. And my biggest issue is that there is no clear-cut definition. You know, if you look 30, 40 years ago, we at least had, like, you know, if you touch someone, or if you know, you breathe somebody's space, or if you came at them in such a foul or flagrant way, you know, to make them feel very uncomfortable, or to make them feel threatened, then, you know, the harassment line was drawn. But now, you know, in 2021, we've gotten to a point where, you know, somebody can just look at somebody and just say, look, I think you're attractive, you know, and I want to be with you, or, you know, I want to be on a date with you, or, like, you know, age ain't nothing but a number, and I'm 60 something years old, you 20 something, like, what's up? And to me, that's a shot. That's a shot. You know, that's not, you know, you know, that's not me touching you, or that's not me. Now, when I say me, I'm using that, please. Pause. When I say me, that's me just saying, like, just man, period. But that's not a man, you know, really, for me, violating just a person. Is it sometimes maybe have an inappropriate nature? Yeah, it can, you know. But my question is should someone get completely damaged for saying something inappropriate? Or should it be something where this is a discussion? It's like, look, you draw, you know, the line needs to be drawn here. I don't welcome those advances. Can you please not say that again? And give him an opportunity to change his course. And, you know, and what pissed me off, really the straw that broke the camel's back is, you know, I put it out there is the situation with Cuomo in New York. And, you know, there are several of those claims that are there that I'm like, I'm a 60-something-year-old man and somebody's 20-something years old working in my office. He never said like, oh yeah, if you don't go out on a date with me, I'm gonna fire you, or, you know, if you don't do this, or there's a consequence. There's nothing that man really said. To me, he shot his shot, maybe inappropriate, maybe not in that setting, but to now discredit this man for everything that he's worked for and everything that he's done, because he's done that. And I can name multitudes of situations where that's happened. You know, it's about once she made that statement, it was about 5 other people, and one lady said basically he shook my hand and kind of held it, you know, and we sat down and he said something. I'm just like, that's a point where you say, look, you know, this is inappropriate. I don't feel comfortable. Can you please not do that again? And he has the opportunity to say, you know what? I'm sorry. That's my mistake. Forgive me. Let's move on. You know, another prime example is this whole Desean Watson thing. Now, I don't know the logistics of it, but it seems really, really fishy that now that you have a black man that's pretty much demanded trades, that's in a power position, that pretty much holds a city in his hands. Now, all of a sudden, now you have massage therapists that are saying he's doing these things. And I'm not saying that he's right or wrong, but it's the timing of the thing. You know, it's the timing. It's like, if he did this, why wasn't it put out there, you know, from the jump? Like, why is it now that he's in this contract negotiation and he's threatening, you know, big money, you know, billionaire pockets, that now this is coming out to devalue his work, you know? And same way with Cuomo. Why weren't we talking about this 3-4 months ago? Now you want his seat. Now you want him out just for a political chess game. Like, why is it coming out now? And that's just my biggest thing. And the other thing, and I'll step off the floor, let you guys, you know, take that. But the other thing is, like, when you actually have somebody that, you know, that the sheep that cries wolf and just says that something bad happens, and then they're exposed, or there's something that says their story is incorrect or false. There's no repercussions for that. There's no consequence. Like, they live their lives. And the prime example that I give all the time is Amanda Seales, right? Amanda Seales has a daytime talk show. She was on daytime talk show TV. She has a radio show, podcast. Like, she actually became more famous after she said that Myron Rowe did this, you know, this flagrant, disgusting thing, when it actually never really happened. And she ended up apologizing that she lied, but it was still a smear campaign. Like, if you don't know anything about the situation and you Google Myron Rowe in there, you'll see that pop up, and your perspective of this man changes, right? You had to actually follow it all the way through to see that it was BS, but nothing ever happened to her. But, you know, you have multitudes of instances where men, no matter whether if it's true or false, their lives are going to be changed forever. You know, it goes on and on. And people are like, well, you know, they'll try to lump all this. Me Too is not lumped into one large category, right? Mm-hmm. You got Bill Cosby and Cuomo are two totally different situations. You know, and when you talk about, like, all of these situations, all Me Too, and you don't look at them in you know, as individualistic entities, and there's no definition of what is actual harassment, what is actual just inappropriate discussion or inappropriate talk. Like, there's no defined lines. And for me, the reason that I put that out there is that I'm just like, look, the only way you could really be safe is if that woman, or a woman that you're interested in, she has to give you the ultimate green light. Like, she has to let down some type of guard to allow you to feel comfortable enough to say, all right, I'm good with approaching her in this particular manner. And people will say, well, if you just, you know, approach somebody respectfully, or no, it's not. There's no definition of it. You know, if you approach somebody in a way that you think is respectful, but if they think that it's disrespectful, it's pretty much, you know, her word against your word. And it's like, you're going to lose. If a woman makes a claim, you're automatically guilty until proven innocent. Mm-hmm. And for me, I'm just like, man, the statement that I made on social media was very extreme, but it was more so to say, look, you have to really be sure to before you shoot that shot that she really is feeling you. Because and this is something else we'll talk about down the line, but it really kind of depends on who the person is and like what they have. Like, let's be honest, I deal with women on a day-to-day basis. Like, just as a gynecologist, if it's Denzel shooting his shot and you really married and you ain't feeling it, Denzel, I can't do this, right? Even though, maybe someone will go, but nonetheless, at Denzel, we can't really do this. It's like, let's just chill. Morris Chestnut, we can't really do this. Like, I appreciate it, but it's okay. But if it's some 400-pound fat out of there sloppy dude that says the exact same thing in that exact same situation, oh, he didn't harass you, he didn't stepped over the line, he's in all the butt of the conversations in every female conversation in groups or what have you. So it's different. Like the reaction to certain stuff is just different. And I'm just telling men to protect themselves.
Wow, that's a lot to cover. And you're right, Stephanie. Is there anything you want to say to Stephanie?
Sure, absolutely. Because, I think there's a lot to unpack here. And so when we talk about the lines being blurred, I don't think that the lines are that blurry. I think it's very clear cut. So when we talk about like sexual harassment, right, I think we tend to get hung up on like the physical aspects of it all. Like, we don't feel like we've sexually harassed someone unless we touch them. And it's like, okay, I haven't done anything to you, so I haven't harassed you. And I do want to be clear in that there's a difference between sexual harassment, sexual misconduct, sexual assault, right? They're all different. And now sexual harassment may be a civil thing. So I do understand setting those boundaries. If somebody comes to you in a way that you deem inappropriate, and that may be subjective or relative or whatever the case may be, but if someone comes to you in a way that you do deem inappropriate, it is important to say, you know what? Nah, I'm not feeling this. I don't want this to continue, right? But there are a ton of different, so when we talk about like the long-term effects that sexual harassment, well, first, before we even do that, let's talk about what sexual harassment even includes, right? So sexual harassment can be a wide array of different things, like unwanted or unsolicited text, right? Like sexual text, sexting, unsolicited nudes being sent, right? Any kind of mention of my genitalia. So for example, if a man says like, damn, you fine, you got a fat butt, like, I want to take you out, that in a sense is I have then been sexually harassed. Now, I'm not going to say that I've been assaulted, and I'm not going to say that, that you've done something to me that I need to now and go and call the police, but it's inappropriate. It's of an inappropriate sexual nature, and it is considered sexual harassment. Now, I think, so fast forwarding. So yes, go ahead, Pierre.
So
cut me off.
With that, I just got to get some clarification. So,
sure.
One, I need a clear, what does the word harassment mean? Because in my book, harassment means repetitive coming. That's number one. Number two, if a woman does the exact same thing, are we talking about harassment?
Yes, it's still sexual harassment. I will say,
show me
absolutely, it is still sexual harassment. Now, however, I think that the way we're socialized, it's just the way the cookie crumbles. Like how you were saying, it depends on who you are, right? And we don't look at women as rapists. We don't look at women as someone who can perpetrate sexual assault, right? But it does happen. It can happen. But I don't think the lines are blurred here. I think the lines are very clear. I think even now the way that we're socialized, especially like you said, it being 2021, we're on these different platforms. And I think we are at a point, we're operating at a point where people we've kind of been conditioned to be able to say whatever we think we want to say to people without regard for any consequence. But it doesn't remove the fact that it's inappropriate. It's inappropriate in nature. It's sexually inappropriate. And it does fall under sexual harassment. And you're right. It's just kind of the way the cookie crumbles. It does depend on
if that's the case, I don't think there's a person living it that has not sexually harassed somebody. Every single person has sexually harassed somebody. Why is everybody not just like being persecuted? Like everybody has sexually harassed somebody. Like you said something to some dude that you was feeling in college or what have you. Like, and you sexually harassed them if that's the case. Like I know for me, I should be like college, like as a Q, like there's a lot of us and just should be like.
Yeah,
but I think you said
it's funny.
If that's the case, you know, if we going by definition, but it's like that's my problem.
And that's a lawful definition, right? That's by law, right? But I think you said something very important, Pierre. I think you said it really depends on the person you trying to shoot your shot at, right? Because I think my comment came in as some people have pathological misinterpretations of someone coming to them. They may have, you know, previous traumatic experiences, or they just have ill will intentions, right? And it's like, you don't know who you're dealing with when you do shoot your shot, because that's the person that kind of determines this outcome for you, in a sense, right? Yeah. And that shit sucks, right? Because you have good women out here who are old. I mean, I don't know if you want to consider old fashioned, but I mean, I just never thought me hollering at a man. I mean, I've hollered at guys a couple or two, but it wasn't really like, you know, I mean, I don't usually do that, you know, but I'm like, shit, maybe I should be doing that, because I don't want, I mean, I didn't know that this is something that existed where men were thinking about it in this way and how they're approaching women now, especially at my age too, right? I don't know if I have any other people my age who were born in the late 70s, but who are single. But I don't know. Should we actually adjust or adapt to the new way of just, you know, approaching men? I'm just talking about something basic now, right? That can be misinterpreted.
I mean, for me, I mean, I'm just different, honestly. Personally, I protect myself. I'm gonna protect myself at all costs. Like, so for me, I have to see a sign. I'm never going to just shoot my shot. I'm just not gonna do it. I have to. There has to be something that she says, or like, that makes me feel that it's okay to have that type of conversation. If I don't see that, you know, if there's some like strong eye contact, something has to make me feel that it's okay. And if I never feel that, I don't give a damn. How, you know, I don't care. Like, I'm just not going to jeopardize myself. And for me, it's just like, you know, people keep saying the same thing. It's like, well, yeah, well, if you do, you know, if you do sexually explicit something, or you send like a pic or something, then that's it. But we've seen very clearly that that's not all that needs to happen to be considered harassment. I really want to see, I'm trying to understand, like I'm trying to understand, and I can only use real life examples. Like, show me what in Cuomo's situation is harassment to where this man needs to lose everything. They did a whole 60-minute special, and I'm listening to her talk, and I'm just like, that's an old man trying to shoot his shot. That's what that is. That's what that is to me. Like, you can't, I didn't hear anything that says he should be like resigning, giving his seat up and all that. I just didn't hear it. You mean?
I can't hear you.
I apologize. You're right. And I think a lot of this has been politicized, right? I think you made a good point about that. The timing of the thing, all these women all at once, all of a sudden come out, his case, you know what I'm saying? Watson's case. And I do agree with that. Like, I mean, speaking as a woman, I don't care. I mean, why now? Why, you know what I'm saying? Why y'all coming to him like this? Why didn't this happen before?
And even that, in a sense, I can speak on that too. So when women specifically are sexually harassed, it's almost, as we know, there are a ton of different like emotional effects that sexual harassment or persistent inappropriate sexual acts against a person can have on someone. And one of those emotions that I think we often tend to maybe even overlook is powerlessness, right? We feel a little bit hopeless in a sense. And so when one person demonstrates the courage to come out and say something about someone, it tends to say, okay, we can all kind of do this at this point, because now I'm not as powerless, and there's power in numbers. So now it makes sense that we're all coming out at the same time to speak on something that's happened to us, because at first, who would have just believed me? If this is something that I said, then who would have believed it?
I can see that point of view as well. I can see both lines, both ways, right? It is power in numbers. It is power in fighting someone who may be of an astute status. But I also can see how this can be a political ploy or trying to ruin someone's career. And just this is how you do it.
Like, look at the whole Al Franken situation. Like, y'all remember that?
Yeah.
No, I don't. You gotta put me on.
So Al Franken was, I can't remember, he was the governor or the senator for, I can't remember his state. I really can't. You can fact check me. He's a senator for some state, but he was previous comedian. He was on SNL, comedian for years, and he in Minnesota. So then he, was a senator in Minnesota. 3 or 4 years ago, hold me at a time, we can time check, whatever. 3 or 4 years ago, there, around election time, like there was a woman that came out that said 20 years ago, 20 years ago, when he was on SNL, when like he was doing comedy, that, he laughed and joked at a photo shoot and I think grazed her breasts like while they were, taking a photo and was just kind of in her face or what have you. He lost it. He lost the seat. He's pretty much banished from government. Like he will never be in politics ever again. It's over. And we talking about 20 years ago with a one-time encounter when she says this man grazed her breast and he can't, like, it's nothing he could say about it, nothing he could do about it, whatever. They just took it, ran with it, gone, goodbye, poof, poof. Like, that is a problem. That is cancel culture. That is weaponizing Me Too. That is, like, to me, that's kind of like what's happening with Cuomo right now. It's just like, yeah, we had an interaction. It was inappropriate. It's harassment. Get them out. We're done. And if you have enough women to say that, if you have a couple of women to say that, you can utilize it. Same way with Desean Watson, like you can utilize it, like it's over. There's no definition or no underlining thing that says, okay, this is too far. This goes over the bounds. This is where you should be fired. This is where it's like we're in a hypersensitive time. And I'm not saying, again, I don't want anybody to take it like, it's I'm condoning just inappropriate behavior or anything like that. But it's like, it's almost like, giving somebody life for traffic violations, or like, it's just like it's the punishment that is being divvied down from some of these things that are being said, or some of these encounters is just not fitting the crime or the
I agree.
Action. Yeah,
James
I
makes
agree
an
with that. Absolutely.
James makes an interesting comment. He says, I think it's difficult to define sexual harassment because many people base it on how they feel and no one can legislate how someone feels.
Absolutely. And that goes back to even when I said, there's a difference between sexual harassment, sexual misconduct, sexual assault, right? And oftentimes sexual harassment is kind of like a civil matter, right? Like now I know people in high places have these allegations made against them and then it can be very detrimental to them and their careers, but it's more of a civil matter. And I think that oftentimes when we talk about sexual harassment, it's like in the workplace, like, in more common spaces. And I think that as just people, as humans, we have the right to get an education in a place that makes us feel safe and free from sexual anything, right? And also in the workplace, we have the right as people to feel safe in this setting. And I think so oftentimes when those lines are crossed, then we call sexual harassment. Now, I understand, like, especially Pierre, there was something that you said that I wanted to piggyback off of, but it was, like, I like to say to people, a murderer is not a murderer until they kill someone, right? So it's almost difficult to pinpoint when you say, okay, well, you have to kind of know who you're talking about, or you have to kind of know who you're trying to shoot your shot at, because you don't know. And even if a woman does wink her eye and bat her lashes and say, okay, it's okay for you to come over and approach, right? That doesn't mean that it's not a clear-cut thing to say, okay, she's not going to go back and claim sexual harassment later on. So it's difficult. And I don't know if I think when we talk about defining sexual harassment, I personally feel like it's very defined. Unwanted contact of a sexual nature.
How? I mean, I'm still waiting on the definition. What is
unwanted contact of a sexual nature? Unwanted advances of a sexual nature. Because when you
what's the sexual nature though? What is the sexual nature? If I ask you on a date,
if you're asking me what is the sexual nature, if a man comes and hits on me and says to me, "Damn, you fine, you got a fat ass."
No, but see, you adding the fat ass. If I say, damn, you fine, can we go on a date sometime? Is that harassment if you don't want me to go on a date with you?
I don't think that's harassment.
Why?
Harassment. That's not of a sexual nature. That's not of a sexual nature.
But what?
It doesn't speak of any sexual acts. It doesn't speak of any sexual content.
So when he says, because you got a fat ass, that now makes it sexual nature?
Yeah, because now you're talking about my genitalia.
But that's what I'm saying. That's my point. That's my point. Like, This stuff is not happening. Like nowhere did Cuomo say like, "Oh, you got a fat ass. I'm trying to do whatever." He never said that.
Yeah, but I agree with you about the Cuomo situation. I
Okay.
agree that there's no. I'm not combating that.
So it basically says sexual harassment. This is from the government website. Is that it's unlawful to harass a person, an applicant or an employee, because of that person's sex. Harassment can include sexual harassment or unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, and other verbal or physical harassment of a sexual nature.
But that's what I'm saying. It doesn't say. See, she stuck the genitalia part in there. It's not. It don't say that. That's my thing. It's not a sexual nature. If I'm just trying to get close to you and try to be in your presence and try to go out on a date, or saying like, yo, age ain't nothing but a number, and I'm just, I'm old, but I'm good. Like that now has been like saying that's the sexual nature. I don't agree with that. That's just, I don't agree with that. It's whack.
I can't say that I agree with. I can't say that I don't find that to be of a sexual, to me personally. If you said, okay, you know what, I'm interested in talking to you, and you don't mention anything of a sexual nature to me, even if you mention my appearance, I do not consider that to be harassment. But the minute you take it a step further and you mention anything on my body in a sexual nature, anything that insinuates that you are looking for sexual contact with me that is unwanted and unsolicited, then I consider that to be sexual harassment. I would then define that as sexual harassment.
That's fair. I can I can go there, but that would be clearly defining something. That would be clearly defining, and that's all I'm asking. There has to be a clear definition. There is no clear definition right now.
Yeah, and so that's the problem, right? The actual definition, because this has become political in so many different environments, jobs, seats, it's just really political, right? How that needs to actually be redefined, probably a little bit scrutinized as to what the definition is now. And I mean, would y'all agree with that, of sexual harassment, since this has become something that has the potential of ruining careers that has nothing to do with, and I mean, and that ruin careers, ruin families, ruin people, ruin kids. I mean, it can go on and on both sides, right? Do you think that this is something that needs to be looked into? It's just, do we need to redefine what sexual harassment is and be very specific on delineating the line between what sexual harassment is, sexual misconduct, and all these, because they're all legal terms?
And shooting your shot.
And shooting your shot, which is an urban dictionary.
We need to what is an appropriate way to approach someone. And I don't think that personally, I don't. So when I say that, when I'm making these comments, it's not because I'm making them for me, but I'm saying in general, I do not feel that talking to someone at work or what have you is completely off limits. I don't think that like somebody to say, like, if you're at work and you go on a date with somebody or you get involved with somebody at work, I don't think that's a, something that should just be completely looked at as the most horrible thing in the world, because there are people that are married that met at work.
But I think what it comes into play is that when someone's using their power or their status. That
I understand. Like if you use your power to say, like, if you don't, then this will happen. That's a whole different ball game. But if somebody say just like, look, hey, let's go out on a date, let's do whatever, like, and somebody just like, I don't want that, or that's an advancement that I don't want, then now that could be harassment, and that's just whack. And my biggest issue, my even bigger issue, is that when women do it, nobody cares. There's no Me Too for men. There are no consequences for any woman that will say something happened and then it actually didn't happen, or it didn't happen the way she said. There's no consequence for it. That's my bigger problem. That's the biggest problem. It's your word against hers, and if she is correct and validated, you're done. Yeah. If she's not, so what?
Yeah, that is very true. There's no Me Too for men, and men are. Yeah, you're exactly right. There's a question. There's
Eddie talking about my boy.
Yeah, Eddie from St. Louis. The problem in the past is that the allegations of powerless were dismissed without investigation. It's progress that accusers be believed, but the problem now is that the accused are dismissed without investigation.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Can a look be interpreted as sexual nature?
We can
Betting
misinterpretations. They can be misinterpreted. See, that's sticky. That's sticky because once again, subjective. Because what you may think is me batting my eyes is me having something eyelash on my eyeball. It's subjective. But
Right.
I don't think that it speaks to that whole consent thing.
Okay, let's just be real. If I look at a man's genitalia, if I'm just look at him up and down, he look at my breast and he's talking to me, would that be considered sexual harassment?
Yes, I think.
Why?
So. I think so. And let me tell you why I think so. Because it's subjective. See, and part of me, I'm saying yes, I think so, but I'm also straddling the fence. Because who was to say that that's what that, like, I don't know. That's one of those things that maybe needs to be clearly defined. I'm straddling the fence when it comes to this.
Do you
In
think
2021, you got women paying $15,000 to get every enhancement in the book, and you want people to look at it. So you
No.
want people to look at it. So I'm saying, so if a man looks at it, did he wrong? You want him to look at it.
Wait a second. Wait.
No. You want him to look at it.
You cannot look at people. However,
What you mean you can't look at it? You can look at it. If you come, time out.
Yes. Hold on.
Time out. Hold on. You come. Some women come to work wrong, right? Some women come to church wrong. You come to church or work and you got ass coming out like not out, but like you got a form-fitting dress and you didn't pay $10,000 for a BBL and that ass is popping out. It is human male nature to look at that shit. I'm sorry. I'm
not saying you can't look. People are going to look. And if I call sexual harassment on every man that looked at me when I walked anywhere, I would be calling sexual harassment on every last man like that I've ever come into contact with, probably. I don't know. But so yeah. I can't say like that.
That's what I'm saying. That's why we're looking at the definition.
Yeah, the definition is the problem.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
and also what's the problem is the result, right? Of the crime, potential crime, because it's illegal. So now because someone has sexual harassed someone in their supposedly allegations in their private life, how does that intersect with their career? That's a problem.
But you have like I gotta look at some of these claims more, but I think somebody did say like he was looking at me like in this particular way that made me feel uncomfortable.
And you know what? Feelings are not facts. And I think someone else said feelings are not facts. And I think we get hung up on that too, because we feel a certain way. It's not a fact. Like that doesn't mean that we were sexually harassed because I can't tell you how you're looking at me. I cannot explain to you what that look is. I don't know that. I can't say that.
Is it misinterpreted?
Absolutely.
There's women out here too that we talk about.
You said there are rules to the game that have to be adjusted based on circumstance, workplace versus club versus school.
Right.
And you know what? And this right here, this is stupid because I was going to speak on this because I think that sometimes sexual harassment gets swept under the rug based on the setting that we are in. Because people, and it kind of bleeds into consent. People feel like if we are in the club, you have the right because we are in this place where people, it's kind of like a sexual vibe. I can walk past you and touch your butt, or I can walk past you and grab my pelvis up against yours. The setting,
it ain't even got to be that far. It ain't got to be that far. Like,
but it usually is though. It is though.
I'm saying you dance. Let's put a hypothetical. You dancing with somebody, y'all dancing, and like both y'all 3-4 drinks in, like. He might say something that ain't, he might be feeling this up and just feeling and seeing something that may not be, but it's been said, and I've seen women do it, men do it, but like, yo, if that's harassment, come on, man, it's not.
But and now you can feel because absolutely now we get into consent at this point because I still have to consent just because I allowed you to go this far does not mean I consent to this. Just because I have danced on you and we're in this position does not mean I consent to anything further than that. So the minute you overstep whatever my boundary is that I have set for myself, the minute you overstep that boundary and I let you know, okay, you know what, this is something that I'm uncomfortable with. Yes, I may have felt harassed in the moment, but harassment, like you said earlier, it's a matter of being persistent and they can have long-term effects if they are persistent. But I mean, people have freedom of speech. We can't call sexual harassment every time somebody says something that we don't like. People are going to say things that we do not like, that we don't care to hear. But setting that boundary and saying, okay, you know what, this is inappropriate. Now, if the problem persists, then we need to have another conversation. That's when another conversation needs to be had.
So shouldn't the conversation be had between those two adults at that time?
Yeah.
And not linger. I mean, if someone was in a position of harassing someone or they felt harassed, then that conversation should happen, right? But I understand that some people feel like if they're in a different leveled position, they're afraid that'll happen because it will jeopardize their position.
Absolutely. And that's that powerlessness.
Well,
when let me ask, when do you get like the opportunity to say, I said something that may have been inappropriate, or that I shouldn't have said that. Sorry about that. My apologies.
When it happens.
When do you get that opportunity?
When it happens.
Huh?
When it happens. What do you mean when you get that opportunity?
But the argument is already if you already do the harassment and it's done, it's no taking it back. There's no I'm sorry, there's no atonement, there's no nothing. Like there's nothing that says I can see that I'm wrong and let me correct my behavior. There's nothing there that makes that an okay thing to have happen. I said something inappropriate. I'm sorry. Let's move on. That don't happen. It's like, I don't like you.
It could happen if that person didn't realize they were harassing someone and the person that felt harassed said, hey, this is inappropriate. And that's when that person should be like, oh, my bad. I didn't mean to disrespect. And that's why I'm saying the conversation should happen, but it should not result in outside of that conversation of people losing their leverage, losing their jobs, getting publicized. Like it should happen in the confinement of that conversation. And those laws should be in place where it protects both parties, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that 100%. I agree with that.
Yeah,
when it becomes persistent, it turns into sexual misconduct or it turns into sexual assault, then that's the conversation where I feel like you can insert a third party into that. But absolutely, I feel like you should, when it arises, address it.
And what did
Stuckey.
What did Stuckey just say?
There's a fine line with the look, but there are times when it can feel like sexual harassment. If you are a coworker and every single time I walk past you and the look at me and what is interpreted as inappropriate, it makes me feel uncomfortable, it is sexual harassment. And especially if I've said something.
Yeah, if you said something.
When you say something.
That was persistent. Absolutely.
If you say something, that's persistence. Like
so now we need a law definition of people not feeling prevented in saying something. You know what I'm saying? If it's inappropriate to them, because everyone is misinterpreting what what the feeling is. I think James made a good statement. It's about how people feel. If you looking at my breast and I feel you're harassing me, I should say something, but it shouldn't jeopardize who I am, what I'm doing, whatever.
But then that's a line too. If you walking past and I'm just looking, and you just sitting there and you like, damn. You're in your mind, you like, damn, you look and didn't really catch yourself looking and somebody feel harassed, that's a bit much. Or if you sit up there looking and salivating and licking your lips and trying to do that, that's a different story. But like sometimes you can get like, yo, if it's something to look good, so you might look a little too long. What Eddie Murphy tell Martin in life, like, no, don't be looking at that white woman like that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's involuntary sometimes, man. Sometimes it's like you look and it's like, I didn't mean to look. It's just a normal, unfortunately, it's an innate behavior. It's bad. I'm not saying it's right, but sometimes every man can attest to it. Like
have you ever felt sexually harassed? Yeah.
So, all the time. All the time. Man, I had a woman try to holler at me while I'm delivering her baby in the no BS, legit, fully dilated baby there. Talking about this baby about to be out. Like, what's up? No joke.
Oh.
I can't make this up.
They shooting they shot.
Shot. That was like, damn, Steph Curry. Like she went like Steph Curry about nothing, man. She went for broke. I didn't have that all the time. But that's like, if I say something like, well, is she gonna get in trouble? No, never gonna get in trouble. Like women don't get in trouble. It's not. I've never seen a Me Too in reverse ever. If somebody can show me one,
Did you feel disrespected when he did that though? How did you feel? Because that really is what it boils down to, is a feeling.
I mean, I feel like, damn. You know what I mean? Like, I feel a little like, when women come at me like that, I'll be like, damn, you bold as hell. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I'm just like, I could either say, just keep it moving, laugh it off and keep rolling, or I could make a big ass deal about it. I'm just not gonna make a big deal about it, because it's just not one, nothing is ever gonna come out of it, and then two, it's just gonna make everything uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But think about how many men come forward. When you think about that, and you think about men having the Me Too thing, think about how many men are gonna come forward and say, you know what? She was looking at my dick print in my sweats. Or like, think about how many men are going to come forward and say that. Almost.
So look at the whole gray sweatpants era. Like, y'all had these conversations.
Yeah.
Y'all be having these conversations. I've been Me Too. Yeah, you're right. I'm Me Too.
But nobody, and it's like, it's the way that we've been socialized. Nobody is going to, men are not going to come out and say, you know what? I feel sexually harassed.
Good, Stephanie.
Like, they won't.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Hey, homecoming. I think homecoming, everybody gets sexually harassed. Everybody. You be like, damn, you felt that?
I would agree with that.
3 drinks in, you be like, God damn. Like, shit. You be like, hold on, man. You gotta look at what you drinking yourself. Be like, God damn. Maybe people off in the corner having a conversation like, damn, they really talking for real? Like, damn, it took about 20 years and about 3.
There you go. There's a timeline. 20 years to shoot your shot. That's true. So let's talk about that though, because this rarely happens when people are in that type of setting and those type of relationships, right? We don't necessarily hear about those. We really hear about them when of status or political arenas. Would you say that? And I'm not disrespecting anyone who's actually has experienced this, because I know there are people out there who actually been traumatized by, sexual harassment. So I'm definitely not minimizing your feelings, all due respect. Mm-hmm. But as far as how I'm hearing about it, how we're talking about it, these are the examples that are commonly given. And that's why I want to lead to James. Is there an element of power or position associated with sexual harassment? And not just the actual act, but what results if this allegation comes out about someone.
Yeah, on both sides, I think.
Now they lose their position, right? I mean,
absolutely. If your subordinate comes and says, you know what, such and such has been sexually harassing me, they'll get rid of you first. And now your livelihood is at stake. So when we talk about the livelihood of people in power, people who holding the power positions, the livelihood of those that are not are also put at stake. Because if I do come out and I say something to you, okay, so you're out. Like, so nobody wants to come forward. So then when we talk about the element of feeling powerless, right? People, you have to, it's like, it almost gives you a level of comfort. It's like a security blanket. If we all come out together, they can't get rid of us all, right? Or if we all come out together and say this, the chance that this person will be prosecuted and maybe this won't happen again, or maybe our repercussions will be a bit greater, what happened? It's more likely for us to win if we come out together.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir, Troy. Facts, man. I gotta speak up for dudes, like, cause like when I made that post, like you would be shocked, like people DMing me and all that type of stuff. Like, it was crazy. I was like, man, y'all real sensitive about this topic and subject. And then it's like, women I talked to in the past, like, this ain't shit. Because like anybody who talks to me know it's just like something has to happen. If a woman just said, oh yeah, I just came out, Pierre was just like all over me. How you a goddamn you a liar, and the truth ain't you a liar, and people got no feelings. It's like, I ain't trying to holler at you. Oh, okay, whatever. You have to at least make it okay. If it ain't okay, if I don't know for 1,000% certainty that this shit is not okay, we ain't doing that.
You won't ever know. There's no way to know. There's no way to guarantee that. You will never know.
Oh, time out. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Oh, it is. Oh, listen, I know. Look, for me, oh, it is. There's certain things you got to say to make it okay.
But that's
And
not
if
to
you
say that they won't come back later on and say they wasn't.
and you can use your thought process. We could take it even a step further. I tell dudes like this. I tell dudes, well, on my private conversation with guys, like, look, it's certain things that a woman actually has to do if y'all into it. So if you feel she opportunistic or what have you, like, let her do certain things. So this can never be perceived as a rape or like something. Like if she does this, she can never say you raped her. Like it's certain things that you have to do and make sure that are said and done so that you can never be put in that situation.
Oh, see, that's different. So when I said that to you, you're saying, okay, and a woman has to give me the green light in order for me to shoot my shot. So that's what I'm basing this on.
We gotta shoot. We gotta shoot shots together. We in the gym shooting it together. Like it's like boom, 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 boom. It's like shot. We don't even know who shot it first. we shoot.
That was my question, y'all. Like, help me out. Like, how should this work? How should this work this day and age? Like, if a woman is interested in a man, I mean, should she?
You can put a tester out. You can put a little test out there.
What is the tester?
Just say something. Say something that's like, mention anything. Like talk. Say something like, I don't know. Like it just depends on the situation. Like if it's a club, it's a different conversation. If it's at work, it's a different conversation. You might have to hold that off to the holiday party. Holiday party, get a couple drinks. You might say like, hey, like, it was real nice when we did, that at the office. And then if the response is, yeah, I did have a good time. Okay, now you're a little step closer. Now we can go up a little bit. You can go up a little bit. Like you got to get the response. You got to gauge your response. The response was like, oh no, it was nothing. Like I'm going home with my husband. We're done. She will shoot your ass down real quick. You can look at the response of what you said for your feeler and know if you could go to the next step. If that feeler does not match your energy, if the energies don't match, let it go, dog. Let it go. You're gonna give me two.
Me too.
You're gonna give me two. I'm about to put out a t-shirt. No, me too for me. No. Anti me too for me.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. This has been awesome, y'all. Thank you. Is there anything else y'all want to say? I won't keep you over an hour. I'll go on, but this is a very fruitful conversation. I'm learning a lot from this.
This is fun.
Just be careful.
Yeah.
Be careful.
Yeah,
that's really what I'm taking from this is, for one, to be careful. Feelings are not facts. And you have to be aware of the whole consent thing. And consent looks like, just because a person says, okay, this is okay here, that does not mean what's coming next is okay. So periodically checking, like you said. So I agree with you, Pierre. Periodically checking in, doing a little tests and whatever to get people to say, okay, you know what? I'm giving you the green light to go to the next step, because you have to be exactly, and you can still change your mind. So being aware, absolutely, and that's what I was getting at, because consent, because you said something to Pierre about like, okay, well, so we're just gonna hold off until the holiday party. That holiday party come around, she might not be feeling like that no more.
Hey, that means
we talked about the holiday party.
Around there, but hey, you
talked about the holiday party, and so you have to be careful. You have to continuously check in. But overall, like I think that sexual harassment, it can have some long-term implications if they're not. And some of this stuff, even because we talk about like the powerlessness, we talk about the anger, the humiliation, the guilt, the fear, all these different things that can come as a result of someone being sexually harassed, right? It's serious. And I know we laughed and we joked and we had a lot of fun conversation, right? But it's very serious, right? And the long-term mental health or the long-term mental illness that can result, the long-term things that can result as, come as a result of sexual harassment, it's real. And so it can manifest into other pressing issues. It can turn into depression. It can turn into PTSD. It can turn into suicidal thoughts and things of that sort. And unfortunately, a lot of people have completed suicide as something that started out so small that we joke about, right? So it's serious. And so when we discuss sexual harassment, it's like, yeah, like the lines are blurred. And well, I don't think the lines are that blurred, but I think we need to be mindful of how we approach other people, men and women, in these certain situations, because it can manifest into something that we, at the time, we think it's like, shit, she's got a fat ass. But when you continue to persist, right, you continue to say these things about different people, and it makes them feel uncomfortable, and it manifests into like, okay, well, if this continues, I will lose my job, I will lose my livelihood, right? Like these things, I do feel powerless in this. And when somebody is getting to the point where they feel powerless, helpless, hopeless, that is a recipe for suicidal ideation. I will say that because I know it, right? And it can be tough. So like, check for the green light. Always be careful. Check for that green light.
Don't tell nobody they got a fat ass, fellas. This ain't 1970s, 1980s. Like,
tell them when you know.
If she got fat ass, that's a conversation you gotta have with your people. Like, you cannot tell no woman 2021 she got a fat ass. It's just even if everybody know it. Look, I didn't see it to the point where a woman ass so fat, like even a woman be like, damn, she got a fat ass. Like it's like, damn, we looking at each other like you know she got a fat ass. You can say it. The woman can say it.
But
dude, you can't say that. You can't say
that.
You can't say that. Like, man, if everybody in the whole room knows she got a fat ass, don't you say it, sir? Because in 2021, this cancel culture is for real. It is serious. This is not 1970. This is not 1980. There's no don't pass go, do not collect $200, get your chance card back. It is none of that shit no more. Once they got your ass in this Me Too, you are drugged, my G. Let it go. And I'm telling you, you gotta look at this for yourself. I don't give a damn what women say. I'm sorry. Look, y'all blame everybody else. This cancel culture is about to be for y'all because the Doc P got something to say about it. All fellas, word. Listen, you cannot do it.
Like Michael said, she already knows.
You have to protect yourself first at all costs. Do not put yourself in a situation because there's no apologizing no more. It's no like, oh damn, my bad, I shouldn't have said that, or no, I'm sorry. Because you can see once you say I'm sorry on the text, that's the evidence. The evidence is there. It's this dude that man, I'm just seeing all these damn stories. It's a resident right now. It's an anesthesia resident right now. They are frying his ass. He is done. Done. He already lost his residency. Like, he is done. He came at this social worker or something. Like, he came at her, just sent her a text and then said, I'm sorry. They are frying his ass. Right now, like the Desean Watson thing, his text message said, like, he told the massage therapist, like, I hope you're okay with the gluteal area. That's a subliminal shot. It's a subliminal shot. Like, are you okay rubbing my ass? Okay. Yes, I am. Oh, okay. What about the front? Like, it's a gradation. It's a gradation. Like, that's the thing. Listen.
That's a profession, right?
Huh? Yeah. That's what he said, though. But I'm saying now they're using him saying, like, are you okay with the gluteal area as a harassment?
That's crazy.
What?
Yeah.
I can't ask you if you're a massage therapist. Massage my ass.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a muscle, a part of the body.
I can't say, look. Hell, listen, I'm sorry.
And you know what, Pierre? I agree with that because he asked.
He didn't say, hey, rub my ass. Like, he might look okay with that.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure she came to him. I'm sure he did her.
And that's the thing about it. You got some of these Me Too people that be like, oh, he did it. He did it. He did it. Like, they own it. They own his ass right now. And I'm like, are you serious? Yeah. Shit crazy. I ain't saying shit. I'm sorry. I ain't saying that.
Just shoot your shot minus the sexual innuendo, sexual jokes. No
pretty cow. That's not shooting shot.
Hello, how are you? I would love to get to know you. That's your shot and it's sufficient.
Because you may be missing out, Pierre. You may be missing out.
Guess what? I disagree. This goes back to the thing. If it's Denzel saying that, we good. If it's the sloppy ass dude that's 400 pounds and look like just a creep, it's a problem. He didn't harass you. It's bullshit. It depends on who's asking you, because it could be that creep ass dude that ask you that way and look kind of sloppily and got a look in his eye and everything. And really, he just trying to get to go on a date. But he didn't harass you. Now we're talking harassment. It's just because who it is. Don't shoot that shot. Don't shoot that shot, fam, unless you are 100% certain. Don't do it to yourself. That's what I say.
Hey.
Look.
So
it's a lot.
It is.
It's a lot to unpack here.
I make people think, like, for real. Like,
it really is. Because, I mean, the people out here who just not really in that mindset of thinking that he's harassing me, just taking a compliment for what it is. Regardless if you say I have a fat ass, I don't think that is that, it's not based upon me being traumatically abused or me having a traumatic experience or me misperceiving it because, I mean, I think there's so many reasons why people do it. And I think they're doing it for the wrong reasons. And I think that there are people who are actually being harassed. I mean, but at the end of the day, like, dang, what about the people who are out here who really trying to, you know?
It's hard out. What they say, well, my man, it's hard out here for a pimp.
It's hard out here for a pimp. It's hard out here. Jesus.
Now 2021, hey, it's not the same. Like in some realms, like, you know, equality and misogyny and all those things are in the past, and we're on equal footing. But on other things, we're not. We just not. That's why, like, seriously, real talk. Like, even look at, like, even go deeper. Like, when you see, one of these grown teachers and they molest a little girl, he going up the river. They gonna torment him in jail. You see that same, you know, young white woman, 21, 22, 23 years old, mess around with that 13-year-old, 14-year-old little boy or whatever. It's a whole different conversation. She's okay. She's going to be okay. She's not getting vilified. Oh, she was going through depression. Oh, she was going through this. Oh, let's rehabilitate her. She may spend 6 months in jail and she's going to be out. That dude is never coming out of jail. It's over with. It is two totally different ways that we look at things in this society, as far as men being aggressive to women versus women being aggressive to men. And I understand as far as our history, I understand as far as how the misogynistic way that we've done things in the past, just as far as like women just not getting equal rights, not getting fair treatment in the past. I get it. But in 2021, when, you know, things are, you know, at least the playing field is a little bit more level, and that women have, you know, more rights and things right now, like, we can't have the same archaic way of thinking. Like, that has to transcend too. Like, Me Too has to evolve for both ways. It has to look both as harassment on both sides. It's just not that right now. Yeah. And nobody's calling bullshit right now. Nobody is saying like, oh, wait a minute, what? He did what? That's bullshit. Nobody, because everybody's scared. Everybody's scared that you can get canceled too. Like, if you weren't on this side, the right side of this Me Too thing in this particular situation, you're gonna be right along with Cuomo's ass. Yeah.
Yeah. So should we go back to what Pastor Troy says, like we did at elementary school?
Yes, sir. Click yes, click no. Hey, we got receipts. Troy,
like me.
Do it. You got receipts. Try that Me Too shit. We got receipts now. Like, hey, she checked the box, fam.
Y'all, thank you. You know what? Let's do this again, y'all. Let's go with another topic, Pierre. This was fun. This was fun. It was fun. It was enlightening. I learned personally a lot from this conversation. Thank you both for coming on. Seriously. Thanks everybody for participating in the conversation as well. I think this was a very hot topic. I think that it was y'all just commuted your professional, your personal, opinions about it precisely. I appreciate that. Everybody who tuned in, thanks everybody. We're gonna have to do this again, y'all.
Good. Down for it. Let me know.
All right. Thank you, Pierre, Josephanie. Thank you both for coming on. Thank everybody for participating tonight. We're gonna let y'all enjoy your evening. P. Knock on wood. Good call tonight, Josephanie. Enjoy the rest of your evening, girl.
Thanks. You too. Bye, guys.
Bye. Appreciate you all, and don't forget to share this. You all, please continue to have the conversations, even in your own circles. I think this is a wonderful topic to talk about, and I appreciate you all coming on tonight. Have a good evening. Take care. Bye-bye.